Welcome back, Creepshow fam! In today's video, we're diving deep into some shocking and disturbing stories about active shooter drills that went horribly wrong. Across the U.S., schools and workplaces are conducting these drills with increasingly intense measures to prepare people for the unimaginable. But what happens when the line between preparation and trauma gets blurred? Buckle up, because today's video is not for the faint-hearted. These stories will leave you questioning just how far is too far when it comes to safety. Let's get into it. Number 10. The school where teachers were shot. Execution style. A group of Monticello elementary school teachers were dragged into a room at gunpoint in January 2019 and made to line up against a wall. They had no idea what was going to happen. They were aware that the guy securing them was a police officer and that this was only an exercise, but they were unprepared for the fact that the cop would shoot them all in the back of the head, execution style, in a matter of seconds. Naturally, the policeman fired synthetic pellets instead of actual bullets. Even yet, they were large enough to cause the teachers significant discomfort, bruises, and blood. Following the drill, one teacher reported, "It was hit 4 times. It hurt so much." The individuals who were shot experienced great fear and agony, but it was possibly more worse for those who were outside and could only hear their co-workers' cries. Then, on the officer's orders, they observed as the group quietly left, some of them bleeding, and refused to discuss what had happened. Subsequently, the following group would be summoned, and they would also be lined up and fired. The sheriff's explanation demonstrated that this was not an isolated incident when the teachers voiced their complaints. He said that the drill was normal, to the point that he couldn't say how many teachers his cops had previously shot. Number 9. The Gunpoint kidnapping of the nurse. An employee at a Colorado nursing home was forced into an empty room by a man who broke into the building holding a gun to her head, without telling her that her employer had planned an active shooting. Nobody at the company, or at least none that was aware of the drill's scheduled date, had been informed by her employer. The 911 operators were the only individuals they'd informed, and they were told to disregard any calls originating from the facility. Because of this, the woman who was trapped in an empty room with an armed shooter felt more than a little scared. She started sobbing and pleading for her life. She was so terrified that she didn't trust the gunman when he claimed to be a police officer, and that it was only an exercise. She persisted in appealing with him to spare her life. Upon releasing her from the room, no one expressed regret. Instead, she was told to return to work after the man who had just threatened to kill her chastised her in front of her coworkers for not resisting enough. She deserves credit for heeding their counsel. That's when the nurse really began to push back, quitting her job, never returning, and suing. Number 8. Schools. Using real students dressed in false blood. Active shooter drills in Lincoln County, Missouri, go beyond simulated firearms. They present fictitious victims. In an effort to ramp up the realism for the teachers, NBC accompanied a group of high school students who pretended to be the victims of active shooter trainers as they went from school to school in 2014. They would either pound on a teacher's door, screaming that a shooter was coming to grab them and pleading with them to let them in, or they would cover themselves in fake blood and bullet holes and lay down on the floor, pretending to be dead. According to at least one expert, the exercise is pointless and traumatizing for both the performers and the teachers. A teacher cried while NBC reporters observed, realizing that she couldn't let the little child inside even though she was pleading for her life outside her door. The teacher replied, "It hurt my heart." However, the performers suffered from similar trauma. By the time the activity ended, one of them was crying and shaking. She didn't even really have to pretend to be afraid, a second person told reporters. Rather, she remarked, "I had to constantly remind myself that this isn't real. This isn't real." Though it's all quite awful, their school isn't the only one that engages in such behavior. Actually, Earl Warren Jr. High School in Los Angeles brought in the actors in 2014 during regular school hours without even bothering to inform anyone that it was only a drill. The children were left to panic. Number 7. The school where teachers were shot with blanks. When the door of Linda McLean's classroom at Pine Eagle Elementary School swung open in 2013, she was alone in her work when a man wearing a mask and carrying a rifle marched in. "You're dead," he said, pulling the trigger as he lifted it to her. McLean was unaware that the man was an actor and that the gun was loaded with blanks. All she knew was that a man with a mask and an armament was now sprinting into the passageways, and somehow, fortunately, she was still alive. It seems he forgot his pistol, as McLean claims she was torn between pursuing him and shooting him, or attempting to get the kids out of the school. However, her preservation instincts took over, and she started guiding the children into hiding spots when she spotted them in the hallway. The other teachers at the school were going through the same panic attack as her. One felt so scared that she wet herself, and another fractured her shoulder trying to get away. And after it was over, no one said sorry again. Rather, the principal arranged the professors in a line and gave them a red dot for each instance of being shot. Number 6. The police force was called in by an alert test. The AT&T building staff members' phones rang in July 2019 with a text message. It stated that they needed to seek shelter in order to protect their lives because there was ongoing police activity in the building. Really, there was no threat. The sender of the text failed to disclose to everyone, including the police, that it was merely a test of the building's alarm system. Soon after a sizable police force surrounded the building, the populace went into shock. While others huddled under their desks, others barricaded themselves inside conference rooms. A group of approximately 30 individuals gathered in a storage closet. The cops went floor to floor, cleaning each apartment and ushering people out of the building for an hour while they sent what they believed to be their last messages to their loved ones. One employee informed the journalists, "When we did come down, there were guns pointed at us. We had no idea what was happening." "It was anarchy," someone else added. "There might have been a heart attack." Number 5. The nursery where a 5-year-old was traumatized. Not all schools hold active shooter drills exclusively for high school students. In Tucson, Arizona, at least one preschool begins teaching children as early as age 3. When one of the nursery's children began exhibiting PTSD symptoms, that story went viral. The Pottinger family reports that their nursery-attending 5-year-old boy began playing out active shooter drills at home. He used to pretend to be a gunman by hiding behind furniture and acting out what he would do. It wasn't all fun and games, though. Upon hearing fireworks go off for the first time, the boy broke down in tears and cried out, "Active shooter!" He would never go anywhere alone himself, not even to the restroom, since he was so afraid that someone would break into his school and kill him. If his parents left him alone for even a few moments, he would threaten to harm himself because of the confinement. His mother responds, "This is his childhood. It should be carefree." However, it's not. Number 4. The drill that sparked a panic across the city. Phones in Altamonte Springs, Florida, began ringing in December 2018. Students at Lake Brantley High School were sending out text messages and making phone calls in droves, fearing that this would be their last day on Earth. Over the phone, one youngster murmured to his grandmother, "I heard what sounded like gunshots." A mother, in the meantime, begged for assistance on Twitter, writing, "Anyone know or hear what's going on at Lake Brantley HS? My kids are messaging me to tell me they're hiding in closets because school is in code red. I'm going crazy." It was a drill, but no one at the school realized it. The only notice the teachers had was a text message stating, "Active shooter reported." Shortly after, an administrator announced over the school's public address system, "This is not a drill." One pupil remarks, "He sounded scared. He was trembling in his voice." That was sufficient to cause hysterics at the school. In the cafeteria, children panicked and scurried for the exits as teachers locked their doors and concealed their children in closets. Additionally, when the kids left the school, texts from kids who believed they were going to die lit up their parents' phonies. Number 3. The SWAT team was called in during an Army drill. A soldier at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base hurt himself while out for a jog in August 2018, unintentionally starting a series of events that culminated in a SWAT team raiding the base. Unbeknownst to him, the medical team at the base's medical treatment facility was conducting a mass casualty drill. The injured man called for assistance and was promptly taken there. He was brought in with a phalanx of actors who were merely feigning injuries, and for a time the physicians simply believed he was an exceptionally skilled imposter. A doctor noticed something horrifying when he peeked out the window after realizing that this patient was in fact injured. A crowd of military soldiers fleeing for their lives as what appeared to be dead, bleeding bodies sprawled on the ground next to them. The doctor was unaware that an active shooter drill was being conducted on the opposite side of the base, with actors portraying the victims. In a panic, he called the police and placed the hospital under lockdown because the military was already on the loose. A SWAT unit as a whole was soon on the base. Police rushed with their rifles drawn as one officer fired 5 shots into the hospital door, causing it to fall. It took 2 hours for anyone to grasp what was going on and for the police to provide a all clear because there was total confusion. Number 2. The state that owed teachers $300,000 in medical expenses. Even if these stories are all absurd, they are the ones that get publicized. There is ample proof that incidents like these occur frequently, yet go unreported. Some of that proof was discovered by an Iowa insurance company in 2014 when they went over their records and discovered that they had paid out over $300,000 due to active shooter drills in only the previous 2 years. Iowa school personnel who were hurt during active shooter incidents discovered that their emergency care trips had cost them $300,000 in less than a year. Additionally, throughout these drills, at least 25 teachers had sustained injuries, or more than one injury every month. Jerry Luckery, corporate security and safety manager of EMC insurance companies, states, "We have injuries related to running, to tackling, to being tackled, running into door jams, and jumping off furniture." Although Lockery's organization filed a lawsuit to force the schools to alter their methods, it is unknown how many injuries like these occur across the country. This is merely one business in one state that bothered to review its financial records. The statistics in the remaining regions of the nation can be equally dismal, or perhaps worse. Number 1. The gunman exercise that made Nicholas Cruz a killer. Even though these drills can be unsettling and risky, they might still be worthwhile if they are successful. However, in at least one instance, the drills have actually made matters worse. The issue with school shooter training is that, in the unlikely event that a school shooting occurs, someone from the training class will probably carry out the attack. When Nicholas Cruz opened fire at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland in February 2018, that was undoubtedly the case. Having taken part in active shooter drills at his school, he was aware that individuals who lock themselves in their classrooms will react quickly to gunfire. However, he was also aware that many would leave and go outside as soon as they heard about the fire drill. He waited until 5 minutes before dismissal and set off the fire alarm before beginning his massacre. He was aware that many students wouldn't know what to do if he did that, as the fire and dismissal alarms would go off simultaneously with the code red. Cruz took the lives of 17 individuals. Among the deadliest school shootings in American history, it was. Live shooter drills don't seem to be effective, criminologist James Allen Fox claims. Just explaining to them what occurs in the event of an active shooter would be just as helpful. Passengers are not genuinely practicing an evacuation in airline safety videos. And there you have it, Creepshow fam. 10 horrifying tales of how attempts to prepare for tragedy turned into traumatic experiences themselves. These stories show just how dangerous these drills can become when pushed to extremes. What do you think? Are these drills helping, or are they doing more harm than good? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more creepy content. Until next time, stay safe and stay spooky.